I'm going to do that again with this piece. Every little scrap of gold you can save because you can always mix it in, or you can do a lot of stuff with this. You don't want to waste your gold. You could gold plate your fingers, that'll work. All right. And then, oh, I'm doing this upside down. Oops. Your top layer, you're not gonna put the gold leaf on. You're just going to leave it like that. So what you have is you have clay on top, clay on the bottom, and gold leaf in between every other sandwich. Every other layer, so it's like a sandwich. Okay, so that's how you apply the gold leaf. It's very flyaway, it's very kind of fragile. So just lay your clay that you've rolled down to a number 6 at least on it, pull away the excess and stack them up. You don't want foil on the top or bottom. All right, I have done a giant stack like that for you. There you go. At this point, you want to decide what color you want to dominate, and that'll be the top color. You're going to put the top color down on your surface. And what we want to do now is create some hills and valleys on the surface of this, and then we're going to slice that off to get the kind of bullseye look of the Mokume wood grain. You can use some of your excess clay for that. Now, the original version, it says place these balls all over like this, spacing them out, then flip it over and contour the clay around it. When you do that, you would get a full sheet like this with lots of hills and valleys in it, like there. It would be all, everywhere you'd have a ball, you'd have like a bump like that. And then what Lindley does is she just shaves across the top, and she's left with kind of a loaf with pieces shaved off of it. You'll see in a few minutes what I mean by that. Personally, I'm going to show you how I do it. I find it's easier if I only work with a little bit at a time. So instead of putting balls of clay all over, as you may see this in other instructions on the internet or anything, to put balls all over it like that, honestly, I just use a little bit at a time because I find I can contour it better. Because you really want it to really shape around that ball down there, so you have a good rounded surface to slice on. And that's your goal. Right now we're going to take slices off of this. You want to use a super thin blade. A brand new one would be perfect. You can kind of scooch it along there. You can see the different layers coming out. This is not cutting super well because, again, we're under real hot lights. You want to actually let your stack, after you make your stack, you do want to cool it for a while, let it just sit. I'm not going to get this blade through this soft clay, but that's the idea, is to cut layers off like that. Now, what I do is, and then I go on to the next, once I've gone down as far as I want, I go down and I contour the next little area and do the same thing. I shave off all kinds of little pieces. And if you want, at the end, I really shave mine down, so I'm left with almost nothing of this original pad. But what you can do is do another section, fill up the whole thing, cutting off sections like that, and then use this pad at the end. You can run it through the pasta machine, or you can just flatten it. You can use it as a sheet, and it'll have like little bullseyes in it that are left over from your cutting. But the reason I do it the way I do is because I concentrate on using these pieces that I cut off. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Show you what to do with those little pieces. Fortunately, I have a couple for you that I cut off out of the bright lights. So you're going to end up, when you cut your whole sheet, you're going to end up with a whole bunch of little pieces like this. Make sure you look, because front and back are going to look different. So make sure you're getting the one that looks best suited for what you want to do. You can now use these little pieces and do anything. You can cover beads, which is what we're going to do. You can cover an egg, a picture frame, whatever you want to cover, you can cover with these little slices. You want them, when you're slicing, you want to get them as thin as possible. And that will help when you're putting it over something else to kind of keep the size consistent, the thickness consistent. And just like cane slices or anything else you cover, you just take a quarter. I stuck with translucent just to keep the translucent color going here. But you can just put those on however you like them. Keep in mind that because these slices are going to add some thickness to it, so if you want your beads a very specific size, you're going to want to start with the core a little bit thinner, a little bit smaller in diameter than normal. Anyway, you get the idea. Then you would just smooth that out. Finish covering it. It's good to put some on and smooth a little bit because they do spread, so you'll be able to see better where your gaps are going to be. You can keep filling it in. So, anyway, so the things to remember are the way I contour it, I'm concentrating on getting these slices off. If you do all the contours at once, you would put the block down on the table and just shave pieces off like that. I personally find it's easier for me to have the flexibility to have it in my hand. But you can also work with the block afterwards. You can work with the pieces. And that is method number 1 for doing Mokume Gane.